Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. If you have ever wondered what happens when you take a legend and make it even more legendary than A-10 Warthog, must have been your muse. The A-10 Warthog, known for its menacing engine roar and its ability to strike fear into the hearts of its enemies. The heavy armor and powerful weapons of the classic Warthog have already earned it a legendary status, but this new Super A-10 upgrade takes it to a whole new level. Just imagine being able to open up enemy armored vehicles like mere tin cans. Well, it is a dream come true for any pilot. So what exactly has changed in this new version of the A-10? Without further ado, let's rev up those engines and take the all-new Super A-10 Warthog for a spin. Let's get started. The A-10 Warthog, also known as the Tank Killer, is quite the legend in the world of attack aircraft. Back in the day, after World War II, everyone was into supersonic fighters and nuclear weapons delivery systems like the McDonnell F-101 Voodoo and Republic F-105 Thunderchief. But when the U.S. Army got tangled up in the Vietnam War, their trusty old Douglas A-1 Sky Raider just wasn't cutting it and became too vulnerable to ground fire. So the U.S. Air Force decided it was high time to cook up a new kid on the block, a specialized close air support, KS aircraft, that could hold its own against the A-1 Sky Raider and those attack helicopters that were hanging around. General John P. McConnell, the Chief of Staff of the USAF, gave the green light for this project in September 1966. By December of that same year, they were drafting up the wish list for this new AX-CAS aircraft. Fast forward to 1970, and the Air Force got a bit more specific with what they wanted. They tossed out a detailed request for proposal for this new bird. They were thinking about countering Soviet armored forces and wanted something that could do all-weather offensive operations. The specs included a 30mm rotary cannon, a top speed of 460 miles per hour, a takeoff distance of 4,000 feet, and a flight radius of 285 miles. Moreover, they wanted it to be affordable, like $1.4 million bucks affordable, which is around $10 million today. Well, they got themselves the first ever USAF aircraft that was all about close air support. In fact, some joke that they built the A-10 around its monstrous cannon. When the Air Force put out the call, 6 companies came running with proposals. But in the end, it was a showdown between the YA-9A from Northrop and the YA-10A from Fairchild Republic. And when it came to creating that special cannon, they handed the job to the pros at General Electric and Philco Ford. In May of 1972, pilot Howard Sam Nelson took the YA-10A up for its first flight, and it was the start of something big. The final face-off between the YA-9A and YA-10A in January 1973 ended with the A-10 as the winner. They kicked off serial production in February 1976, and by March, the Air Force Tactical Air Command was accepting these bad boys. The assembly line was working at warp speed, churning out at least 13 A-10s every month. By 1984, they delivered over 715 of these Warthogs to the U.S. Air Force, including 2 prototypes and 6 pre-production models. Now, what makes the A-10 a beast in the air is its low speed and low altitude maneuverability. Big wings, a low wing angle, and massive ailerons make it agile. Moreover, it can take off and land on short, simple airfields close to the front lines. It can hang around at 5,000 feet for about 2 hours. And if you slap on a 600-gallon external fuel tank, it can stay up for an extra hour. The honeycomb leading-edge panel makes the A-10 super tough, but not overly heavy. They have similar panels on the flaps, elevators, and keel sections, which means this aircraft can take a beating and keep on flying. The sheathing panels integrated with stringers might sound fancy, but what they really do is streamline production. Thanks to computer processing, the A-10 can be made faster and cheaper, a win-win in the world of aircraft manufacturing. Now, those ailerons at the wingtips are the Warthog's secret weapon for control. They cover nearly half the wingspan and boost the aircraft's roll moment. Also, they double up as air brakes, as we like to call them. That's handy when you need to slow down, especially for ground attacks. Speaking of ground attacks, the A-10's cruising speed of 340 miles per hour or 300 knots makes it perfect for the job. Unlike those high-speed fighter bombers, it can handle small, slow targets with ease, and its maintenance is breeze. even on bases with limited capacity because many parts are interchangeable between the left and right sides, making repairs a snap. Now let's talk about its ability to take off from practically anywhere. The Warthog's robust landing gear, low-pressure tires, and those big straight wings mean it can handle short, uneven runways. It can even make use of damaged air bases or stretches of highway. But what really sets the A-10 apart are those TF34 GE100 turbofan engines. They're placed in an unusual but genius arrangement that reduces the risk of foreign object ingestion. That means they can keep working even during maintenance to minimize downtime. Plus, the engine's position directs the exhaust away from prying infrared homing missiles. Now, when you've got engines mounted high up, you'd usually deal with nose-down pitching moments. Not the A-10. Its exhaust nozzles are angled to cancel out that effect, no trimming needed. Survivability is key to defense, and the Warthog doesn't disappoint. It can shrug off hits from armor-piercing and high-explosive shells up to 23 millimeters. The cockpit is cocooned in titanium armor, and even the control systems are shielded against projectile fragments. The fuel system is cleverly protected too. Moreover, the A-10 has a backup hydraulic flight system and can fly manually if needed. It's so controllable that a pilot can bring it back to base even with one engine, half a tail, a single elevator, and half a wing. The A-10 Warthog has proven its mettle time and again, and there's no denying that it's an aircraft with some serious survival skills. Take Captain Kim Campbell's harrowing experience in April 2003 over Baghdad, for instance. Her Warthog took a beating from anti-aircraft artillery fire, leaving one of its engines damaged and the hydraulic system disabled. Despite these dire circumstances, Campbell managed to keep the plane in the air for about an hour and pulled off a safe landing. Another thing that really makes the A-10 stand out is its deadly cannon, the GAU-8A Avenger. This beast of a gun is one of the most powerful aircraft cannons out there, firing armor-piercing projectiles the size of a beer bottle. Its distinctive burr firing sound has become synonymous with the Warthog. What's fascinating is that the pilot can adjust the gun's rate of fire, ranging from 2,100 to 4,200 rounds per minute, although it later settled at 3,900 rounds per minute. In just half a second, this gun hits its max speed, unleashing 50 rounds in the first second and around 65 to 70 rounds per second thereafter. Accuracy is also on the A-10's side, with the GAU-8 managing to hit about 80% of its shots within a 40-foot diameter circle, even when flying at an altitude of 4,000 feet. With this incredible cannon, the A-10 can easily take out opponents' main battle tanks, making it a force to be reckoned with. Speaking of tank busting, during Operation Desert Storm in 1991, American A-10S alone demolished over 900 Iraqi tanks, along with 2,000 other combat vehicles and 1,200 artillery pieces. That's a testament to the sheer power of this aircraft. It is like they built an airplane around a cannon. The GAU-8's placement slightly to the port side influences the aircraft's design. The barrel lines up with the center line of the aircraft, but armor plates of varying thicknesses are installed between the aircraft's skin and the ammunition drum to protect the shells from enemy fire. Besides the Avenger cannon, the A-10 is armed to the teeth with other weapons like the AGM-65 Maverick air-to-surface missiles, Hydra 70 cluster bombs, rocket pods, GPS and laser-guided bombs, and more. The A-10 Precision Engagement Program from 2006 to 2010 brought modernization, including a new onboard computer, glass displays, and a digital stores management system, among other upgrades. Over the years, the A-10 has seen action in various conflicts, from Afghanistan to the Balkans, proving its worth repeatedly. In 2022, amid the Russian invasion of Ukraine, there were discussions about how A-10s could aid Ukrainian forces against Russian armor. However, the focus eventually shifted to F-16 fighters. Now, the future of the A-10 hangs in the balance. Originally, the U.S. Air Force planned to retire it by 2028, making way for the F-35 Lightning II. But many experts and critics argue against this move, citing the A-10's impressive performance and the high cost of the F-35. As of now, talks are circulating about potentially keeping the Warthog in service until the 2030 ES. So, should the U.S. retire the A-10 today? It's a question that sparks debates among aviation enthusiasts and military strategists. The A-10 has certainly proven itself as a formidable aircraft, but the decision ultimately hinges on a balance between performance, cost, and the evolving needs of the Air Force. What's certain is that we may still see the A-10's iconic silhouette in the skies for some time to come. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and watch the next video as well. See you again.